howled over the tree-lined streets on this cold October night. The tree-lined streets were lined with houses whose broad yards caught the crunchy leaves as they fell into the yard's big mouths. The garbage cans on every corner were full of pumpkin guts. It was chilly, and it was the kind of night where everyone was being hit by cars. In the evening, at that time after the sun goes down and before the moon comes up, that 45 minutes before the moon comes up, a citizen was walking. He was crossing a small parking lot when a car put him 6 feet in the air and 10 yards from where he'd been walking. Then the car hit another guy too. A block up, a big Buick bumped an orthodontist, and a limousine hit an organist. The moon came up, and an old man was hit by a new car. Everyone was walking around town that night, enjoying the chill in the air. An owl hooted in the trees. The leaves were crisp and got crisper as the night went on. The air smelled like apple cider. The streets were empty, except for the cars, which people were being hit by. On Main Street, 2 cars hit 2 people at the same time as 3 cars hit 1 person. All over town, people were being hit by cars. There were drivers in the cars, and they weren't asleep or evil. It was just an oops every time. An oops, and the car would put a college professor through the window of an antique shop. An hour later, a car hit a police officer in a parking lot. He went home in his car and hit his neighbor in the driveway. His neighbor climbed into bed and told his wife. She had been hit by a car earlier too, but she hadn't remembered until now. The leaves were in crispy brown piles, and the piles were shaped like pumpkins. The air was thick like apple cider. Nobody was getting hurt, just thrown and flung. A guy got hit on the finger by a car. A guy got hit on the butt by a car, and then bit on the ear by a bat. A car hit a woman crossing the street, and a different car hit a guy on the sidewalk, and another car hit a woman in the skate park. A car hit a guy, and an hour later, a different car hit that guy again. Just an hour earlier, he had already been hit by a car. Out in the woods, there were teenagers by the creek. They made a bonfire and practiced kissing. They had no idea what was going on. They had biked out of town into the woods before it all started. High school was hard, but out here in the woods, they were in control. At the end of the night, they got on their bikes and rode back into town. All 4 of them rolled over the hood of a station wagon. The driver got out and apologized. They understood. The driver offered them a ride home. The kids piled in and headed towards town. On the way in, they hit the mayor. Everyone was walking around and enjoying the crisp night. The trash cans were full of pumpkin guts, and the air was thick and smelled like apple cider. It was hard to say if this thing with the cars was happening everywhere, but one thing was certain. All over the world, this was taking place.